don't wear glasses, but I do have these prop glasses. So for the sake of the nerd lead in the movie, I'm gonna go with
Arnie.
I'm gonna pay tribute to Arnie and wear these glasses for the review. A little
All
foggy,
right.
but yeah. That's the funny thing when you don't wear glasses and you do, they hurt your vision instead of helping it. So it's you can
Yes,
tell.
it does. I wore glasses for years until I got LASIK. So
How did that work out for you?
good. I've actually had it done twice because your eyes do go. They still go bad eventually. So you have to get touch ups here and there. So
Now I hear when people do get their eyes touched up, it's better than when it was before. Has your vision improved or?
it was the same pretty much. I went from 2400 to 2020, and then yeah, when they touched it up, it was still 2020. So yeah, I didn't notice any difference. It's been good both times.
2020 is good. I've heard like people going from like to like 2010 or something. I think Tiger Woods said that he got it unnecessarily because his vision was fine, but he wanted better vision for golf. So I've heard people,
Interesting.
yeah, I've heard people doing that. So, um, but yeah, I can see clearly now. So I'll give my definitive opinion before we start. I thought the movie was okay. I didn't think it was anything special. I saw the movie a long time ago, read the book. It's been a while since I read the book, but I remember the book touching on a lot of things that obviously the movie didn't. And I was disappointed because the movie wasn't that short. It was almost two
Oh,
hours. And when a movie's almost 2 hours, you hope it would cover more material than I think this movie actually covered. This movie covered enough material for like a nice 80 to 90-minute movie. I didn't, usually when movies are this long, there's a lot more character development. I still felt like all the characters were really paper thin despite the running time. What did you think?
well, I agree with you that it was probably about 20 minutes too long. But I think I liked it more than you did. However, I got to say again, just a caveat that this movie is another one that's very nostalgic for me because I saw it as a kid, and at that time in the mid 80s when Stephen King was king, everybody watched his movies and we watched them over and over and over again. So I saw this movie a lot back in the day. So to me, there's a lot of memories with it.
Okay, fair enough. So this is the second Carpenter movie and the second Stephen King movie we've done with this format. I'm sure you've done plenty more in your channel, but we did The Fog and also Cujo. So for me, none of these have hit it out of the park for me so far. Even though I love Carpenter and I love King, I just feel like we haven't seen the best of their work in this format we're doing so far. The movie kind of starts off for me on a little bit of a bad foot in that Arnie, there was no subtlety to his character. I mean, he's the glasses, the bad haircut, the garbage breaking as soon as he leaves. I mean, the nerds from Revenge of the Nerds would probably bully this guy. What did you think? I mean, what did you think of the depiction of his character? Do you think they
Well,
went maybe a little too far, or
I was just going to say it might be a little over the top, yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a little over the top, but to me, that's what he was. So
Mhm.
they portrayed him in his worst light as they possibly could. It's kind of interesting that to contrast that he has the studly, good-looking, football-playing best friend,
Yeah, yeah. So
an
yeah, I mean,
unlikely couple.
very unlikely. They do address it somewhat in the towards the middle of the movie. They obviously address it more in the book because they have more time. But also, I think like not only like all right, so fine, they did a little over the top in the depiction of him. To me, they also didn't make him very likable. To me, like being a loser, being a virgin, getting beat up, those things aren't innately likable. Like you can't just be likable because people pick on you. You have to do something positive, to be likable. And the first scene we see him talking with his friend, they're just objectifying women. Like, hey, like, oh, she
Yeah,
has a must. It's like, how are we supposed to like these? That's the first thing we hear them say in the movie. Is just like, I don't mind. Hey, I objectify women every day. We did it on the last show with Jamie Lee Curtis, but you don't start off with that.
Well, what about Gail Justin, huh?
Oh, Gail, just in
Yeah.
case? No, I don't like her mustache.
Fuck you, Arnie. I mean, what do you care if you get a little hair in your mouth, huh? Okay. How about Sally Hayes, huh? She's cute.
She's a sophomore.
So what? She's a walking sperm bank, Arnie. I know. Come on.
Did he do anything likable, or did I miss it? Like,
No, I
like the
don't think so.
character?
I did laugh at the mustache line. I thought that was hilarious. But no, you're right. In fact, it'd been a while since I'd seen this, but I was a little taken back by that conversation when they were talking about slutty this or whatever. That I was like, wow, that really is objectification, like you said. That's the personification of it.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't mind it. I'm not being offended or anything like that, or
No,
like,
I wasn't offended either.
but it's just like have that be like maybe the third conversation they have. Like, we're now getting introduced to them. You want us to like them. Maybe don't start off with that scene.
Although, again, the movie came out in 1983, I think, and maybe that sort of conversation was a little more acceptable at the time. I don't know.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah.
it doesn't fly today. We know that.
Yes, I can agree with both of those statements. Next, we get introduced to Kelly Preston's character, which is the reason why we watched this movie. I like to stick to horror movies. She's obviously done a ton. So when I looked at her filmography, I saw 3 movies. Her role in From Dusk Till Dawn is so small that you have to look on IMDb to even know she's in the movie. So I was like, that's off the bat. So I just left this. And then she may have had like I think at least the lead female role, if not the lead overall role in Spellbinder. But when we
Right.
put it up for a poll, no one's heard of that movie. So naturally this won. I was hoping her role was bigger. I didn't remember it being this small, but it was pretty
She had
tiny.
very little to do.
Hi, Dennis.
Oh, hey, Roseanne. How you doing?
I'm okay. They gonna let you play football this year?
Oh, yeah. I mean, Doc says I'm as good as new.
Then I guess I'll be seeing you out there.
I hope so.
Well, TTFN.
Just talking about her for an actress just for a minute, since that's the reason why we technically watched this one. I don't know what your memories are of her. For me, it's I guess maybe this, but again, very tiny. But mainly it's from her roles in Twins and
Oh,
Jerry Maguire. Those are like the 2 ones I really remember her from. But pretty much, I think she just played like the hot girl in most movies. I don't think she really had a lot more to do as an actor.
I mean, my big memories of her were, was she in the movie A Secret Admirer? I think she was one of the girls in that movie. Maybe I'm wrong. If it was Lori Loughlin. Lori Loughlin was in that too, but I thought Kelly Preston was also, which was kind of a minor hit when I was around freshman year in high school or something like that. But also the movie Mischief, which I've seen not very many times, but she has what's regarded as one of the famous celebrity nude scenes in that movie Mischief.
I didn't even know she did nudity.
Oh yeah, she's done a few. I think she was naked in Spellbinder actually, but I haven't seen that in quite a while.
Interesting.
But yeah, no, she's got a few scenes out there.
We also get introduced to the main lead actress, Alexandra Paul. Mainly, I guess people would know her from her days at Baywatch. That's like the most prominent stuff she did. She's attractive, but to me, this is where the book and movies, like, you have to do some changes. Because in the book, she was supposed to be this girl that's hot, even among hot girls. She's supposed to be like the hottest of the hot. Like, you're supposed to see attractive girls and think, oh my God, like, forget that girl. Like, she's so amazing. And like I said, Andrea Ball is attractive, but I don't think she's more attractive than Kelly. And it, even if someone thinks so, it's not by much. So I think this is where, to make the movie make more sense, since like in a book, you can just say, okay, have you seen a 10? Well, this girl's a 20. You can do that in a book. In movie, you're talking about real people, and it's hard to find a girl that's a 20. That's a good actress, you know? So to me, they should have either made the Kelly Preston character less attractive, or they should have made her like bitchy to like plausibly say like why you would turn down this hot blonde throwing herself at you for this brunette who's just like ice cold, who doesn't even recognize you, give you the time of day. But what did you think about the relationship with her and Arnie? It seemed like it happened, it was all off camera. It seems like we didn't see them talk or get introduced or him like there was no really interaction until she was already the girlfriend.
Yeah, I don't know where that came from. Talk about an unlikely couple. I do think Alexandra Paul is quite attractive. She's tall and kind of statuesque. And for someone like Arnie, who's shy and a virgin and has no experience whatsoever, to suddenly jump into the big leagues like that, it was a little implausible, if you ask me.
Extremely implausible. Like, and again, forget looks. He's not even likable as a person, you know? He's just like this creepy incel type. And suddenly we're supposed to believe he's with this girl. Maybe that's why they didn't show us, because they knew anything we show them, they're not going to buy it anyway.
You know what I think? I think you're just sexually frustrated.
Lee, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I just didn't buy into their relationship. What I was really disappointed in, though, was the best part of the book by far was the love triangle with Arnie, his best friend, and Lee, the Alexandra Paul character, because it really emotionally invested me into the characters, because I thought that the best friend was coming off like a scumbag, because the in the book they're saying that this girl is so pretty that he didn't care if Arnie knew. He didn't care if it was his best friend. He couldn't help himself. He had to go after her. And they kissed and they made out, but she was still with Arnie. Arnie caught them together. It was just, it added more emotion to like Arnie going crazy, and it made you more invested in these characters and what happened to them. And I had no investment in any of these lead characters. I just felt apathy for all of them.
Do you recall in the book, I think, and I haven't read the book, so I don't know, but did they expand on how that relationship even began? Because again, Arnie was very shy and he seemed almost, I don't want to say disinterested, but it didn't look like he was ever going to make any moves on anybody. And yet suddenly he pulled it off somehow.
No, the book kind of glossed over it as well. But the book
Okay.
didn't make him seem, the book made it seem like he was more socially awkward and that's why he couldn't get girls and he had some acne. It didn't make him seem like he looked like the character they casted. Like in the book, he could have theoretically been just a good looking guy who just, his awkwardness was all social. It wasn't anything physical where it's like, you know, you like looking at these two together, you're like, there's no way those two are a couple. But no, they glanced over that in the book too. So the fight with the bullies.
Get him, man.
There's a lot of material to work with. The fact that they kind of reverted to like, you know, just the whole trope of like bullies and nerds getting their revenge type thing, to me was a little oversimplified. And I don't think that fight or that interaction was to the level where it's like, oh man, he's got to kill these guys.
How do you like that? Dick face.
I just thought it was just not that much.
But was he killing him? Or again, maybe I have this wrong, but was he behind the wheel of the car every time Christine was doing its thing? Because Christine obviously wanted revenge for what the guys did to it. I assumed Christine was just out on its own, at least initially for those first 4 kills. And by the way, I did really, the Buddy Repperton character, something about that guy, he's just this big, overbearing, looks like he's 10 years too old for high school. He just looks mean. I liked him in that role. To me, he was a scary guy.
Go to the office, buddy.
I'll fix you. You're gonna wish you were never fucking born.
I think he just could have been nastier. I didn't think the casting was bad. I just think they could have just did more to bully him. Except they just had that one interaction, really. You know, that was my only complaint.
Yeah, no, yeah, you could be right there. It's I don't know, when you get 4 against 1 and they just get a little bug in their ass about wanting to do something, it might not take much to set him off at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Again, we
Well, I'm
don't
just
we don't know
saying,
exactly what happened to him. Maybe he got suspended from school. Who knows? We don't really know the full details of there. At least not in the movie. Doesn't reveal what happened to him.
yeah, obviously the book went into more detail, but I'm just saying, in a movie that's 150 minutes long and you have one set of bad guys, why only have like one interaction with the lead character and the bad guys? That's it. They had that one scene together.
Yeah.
They didn't have any other scene in almost 2 hour long movie. Like how many movies have like bad guys, good guys, one scene together? It just didn't make sense to
Yep.
me.
That's a good point.
One other thing I'll mention about the scene, which was like, it was below John Carpenter, because it was like there was a mention of Arnie, don't spill your yogurt.
Arnie, your lunch. And try and keep it cold. There's yogurt in there.
And then he pulls out the knife and he cuts the bag and the yogurt spills out. Was that like a blood squib full of yogurt? Like what container was that yogurt in that it would spill out just like with a poke like that? It's
I don't
sitcom
know.
level stuff, you know. It's not something of the level of a John Carpenter should be doing. But to your point, I guess we should address that. That was another thing that was weird with the car. It's like, obviously you're right. He wasn't in the car when the car was killing the people that bullied Arnie. But when the car was killing Arnie's friend and his girlfriend, he was in the car.
Yep.
Shouldn't it be the exact opposite?
That would make more sense, yeah. Like unless Arnie, I guess we're supposed to assume Arnie kind of got possessed, and he was kind of one with the car at that point, and he was too far gone. Who knows? I mean, they wanted to kill the car, and the car wanted to kill them back instead. So,
yeah, it just didn't make sense because the car's motive made no sense. Because it starts off where it slams the guy's hand. The guy didn't really do anything; he was fixing it. And then it kills the guy who dropped some ashes, but he dropped ashes on a plastic that was in the car. Like how does that offend the car? Does the car have eyes? Does the car feel the ashes on the plastic that's on the car? Then shouldn't it feel him sitting in the car more? And like, it just made no sense. And also, how did he kill the guy? They just opened the door and he fell out dead. It's like,
yeah, I don't know. Was it a heart attack or what? But I was going to ask you again, since you read the book, does the book give any mention as to how this car came to be what it was? They really don't. I mean, they show the beginnings of the car, but I mean, was it possessed by the devil or something? Or I don't know.
they touched on it briefly in the movie. Obviously, yeah, they did go into deeper in the book. But the car was, I think from my memory, it was possessed by the brother of the guy who sold it to them. And then the brother was telling Arnie's best friend a story about like the brother and stuff. So from my
Right.
recollection, it was the brother that possessed the car, but he needed someone in the car, so the car was never empty. So Arnie, when he had the alibis to the cop that he was out of town, like driving parts around, that's from the book. So what's implied in the book is that Arnie's father was also possessed. So when Arnie was out of town, when these bullies were being killed, the father was the one driving the car, Arnie's father.
Huh. Okay.
And then when Arnie wasn't in town, it was Arnie that was driving the car. So
yeah, I mean, my assumption was that this car was just doing its own thing by itself. when it
in the
was killing
movie,
those
yeah.
four. Yeah.
Yeah. And it just didn't make sense. Like, why kill the bullies without Arnie? And then why kill the people Arnie cared about while Arnie was in the car? What's the motive? You know, it didn't make any sense at all. So, and also like, what is the car? In the book, it's clear it's the guy's brother, but like, what is this car in the actual movie? You know?
Did you like the theme music? I did. I enjoyed. It sounded so Carpenter. It is definitely John Carpenter. But the stuff when they were in the warehouse at the end, and it reminded me of Escape from New York, which I think you said you hadn't seen yet, but very similar soundtrack when they were in that warehouse.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought the music and the soundtrack and the score were the best part of the movie. That's why I thought it was weird when she was like, I hate rock and roll. Like, why end your movie on that note? The rock and roll was awesome in the movie. And then they played a great rock and roll song to end it right after she said that. But yeah, I did like Carpenter's score, and I did like the soundtrack. I thought they were both really good.
Right.
I thought the kills were good. The way that cock grabbing fat guy died was pretty funny.
I think Buddy Repperton getting run down by the fiery Christine, that to me is almost an iconic scene. It is just, to me, I really love that scene, this fiery car coming down the road. I love that.
All the stuff with the car was good, where it was killing people. The fiery car, like you said, number one. When the car squeezes into that tiny alley, was good too. But the car, that was really, it. I think the people at the beginning, where you didn't really see how the black guy got killed, and then Arnie's boss, who was also killed by getting crushed.
Yeah.
I didn't think the horror element was that high in the movie. It didn't feel too, like, there wasn't a lot of suspense or chills. It was just like a few like kills sprinkled in. I think it was like barely a horror movie. What did you think of the horror elements?
No, I thought it was, to me, this was all horror, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not scared by things anymore.
Mhm.
But if there was anything even close to a startling scene, it was when the lights came on that car when they were in the warehouse at the end, and then the score picked up right there when the car decided, "I'm here, let's go." You know.
Mhm.
But yeah, just the whole aspect of a car killing people on its own. But again, I'm not scared by anything anymore, practically. So
Yeah. Yeah, I just didn't find it scary, but like you said, if you're such a cynic, then maybe you're not scared of anything, then
yeah.
maybe you can't really be a good judge of it. I didn't think it was particularly scary. There's also another thing that didn't make sense when the girlfriend was choking in the car. Like, did the car make her choke? I can understand the car locking itself so Arnie can't get back in, but like, how did the car know she was going to suddenly start choking on the burger? Just a few things like that that didn't make sense. I won't nitpick it too much because, again, I didn't hate it. I thought it was okay. I just didn't think it was anything great. Anything other noteworthy that we didn't touch on that you wanted to get into? Or
No, just like you said, it was probably about 20 minutes too long. This should have been like a 90-minute movie.
yeah, I think like a lot of my complaints would have gone if this would just been a quicker, tighter experience. Because the kills, like you said, the fire, all the stuff with the car was good. If you're not gonna like really delve into these characters, why be so goddamn long, you know? But I guess you'd give it a recommend. I'd say it's skippable, but you won't regret watching it. So, but yeah, I wish we would have gotten a better tribute to Kelly Preston. Yeah, but she had, I think, like 3 scenes, and I think one of them was just her in the background being a cheerleader,
Mhm.
and then one was in the library where she didn't even
Mhm.
talk. I think she may have just talked in that first scene, and that was
Yeah, I
it.
think that was about it.
Yeah. She did have one interesting thing in her dialogue that I noticed though. Um, there's the SMS talking now for social media where just like you have those abbreviated letters like TTYL. She did have a line like that in the movie.
That's all for now. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I'd never heard that one before.
Well, TTFN.
Yeah, ta-ta for now.
I thought it was interesting, but yeah. She was ahead of her time in that way, I guess.
Mhm.
So, all right. That's it. Until next week.
Yeah.
God, I hate rock and roll.